Firstly, I would like to thank all of you for taking the time to submit your questions. I have looked them over and I will be responding to each and every one of them leading up to the how to manage contractors with less stress, frustration, and overwhelm course, which will be starting on April 8th. And I will be releasing one session each week, up to 6 to 8 sessions once I finalize the course content from there. So you'll have that to look forward to. I want to make sure that I answer every person's number one question that took the time to submit one leading up to that video course to make sure that you have something, especially if you have a project coming up or that you're in the middle of, you can take their response and hopefully learn, ask more questions and implement after hearing these responses. So starting with the very first question here is from Daria G. And Daria G asks, how do you qualify contractors by looking at their previous jobs, testimonials, referrals, years in business, insurance, transparency, timeline? Okay, so that's a very nuanced question because there's a lot of different variables that you need to account for when it comes to qualified contractors. And a lot of that will be covered in the main course, which I've already prepared a lot of content and checklists that will be released in conjunction with releasing the course that covers different ways to find contractors. So in fact, my 3-step pre-qualification process, the actual contract qualification process, which all leads up to actually inviting a contractor to submit a bid or quote on your project. So I want you to picture it this way. When you're qualifying contractors, it's just not a matter of picking up the phone and asking them to submit a quotation for your project. You obviously want to make sure that they're qualified, they're available, and they gel well with you on a relationship level before you actually work with them. So saying that, you want to start with as wide a net. If you picture a net catching fish, you want to start with as big a net, cast as big a net and wide as possible so that you have a large pool of contractors to choose from that you're starting out with. And as you go through each step, you start with finding those contractors through those 7 methods that I mentioned. Then you take them through a pre-qualification process. And then you take them through a qualification process. And you ultimately invite the ones that you think are the most qualified for your project to submit a quote. So starting with, I'm not going to get too much into the weeds of all of that because again, it's covered a lot in the actual course, or will be covered along it rather in the course itself. But you want to answer kind of each bullet point that you have here as part of your question. So when you're looking at previous jobs for contractors, you want to make sure that they have experience in whatever it is, the type of renovation that you're looking for. So are you remodeling a bathroom? Are you remodeling a kitchen? Are you getting an entire unit and starting from the studs? Do you have a basement apartment that you want to build? That needs to be the existing finishes need to be demolished, starting from scratch. Are you building an addition? Are you building a garden suite? Are you building a new house? Are you doing a large multifamily development? All these kinds of things. You want to make sure that when you're qualifying contractors, that their actual work that they perform is similar in nature to the type of work that you need to do. And the same would go for general contractors or subcontractors. You just want to make sure that they have experience doing the thing that you need them to do. Next one here on your list is testimonials. So testimonial, and I guess that kind of ties into the next one here, which is referrals. You can find testimonials on their website, which I would put a big asterisk next to and say that they're gonna handpick the best testimonials and customer reviews that they receive to put them on their website, which and same would go for their social media platforms as well, which hats off to them. I do the exact same thing for my construction management business. It just makes sense. You want to take the very best of the best and show that off as what's the word? I want to show that off as social proof that they know what they're doing and they can provide a good customer experience. So be careful of the testimonials that you see on their website. You want to go to sources like Google Maps. Hopefully, they have a Google business account so they appear on Google Maps. And want to take a look at the customer reviews on there. You want to see also other websites like the Better Business Bureau, if they're on there, if there are reviews, complaints, websites like Yellow Pages, .ca, 411, House, Trusted Pros, Home Advisor, I think is another one. There's a whole bunch of them. We'll take a look at. You just want to see what people are saying. Are all the reviews positive? Are there any reviews at all? Are there negative reviews? For those negative reviews, how are the how's the contractor or the contractors, whoever's responding to them? Are they responding to customer complaints, customer reviews at all? Are they acknowledging them? I've seen customer testimonials and reviews on um, Google that are negative, and the responses that are received are very combative. On the same notion, I've seen some where customers, quote unquote, are leaving reviews, and then the response is, "I don't even know who you are. What's your Get in touch with us. We can resolve it." So you kind of have to navigate it very consciously about what it is that uh, you're finding, and over time, as you start looking at enough of them, you kind of build up a callus on what things to look for, what things to raise flags at, uh, or raise a red flag for you, and things like that. So I would kind of compare it to if you're looking and searching for a product on Amazon, or if you're looking at vacation packages on TripAdvisor or something like that. You're going to see a lot of people that have negative comments, but on those negative comments justified to some extent. For example, if people don't come in with the right expectations uh, on what they can expect to receive as far as service from a contractor, then obviously their experience is going to be worse than if they came in not expecting anything, right? The same can be said for uh, vacation packages, right? That people go and they book and they spend, a week or two with their feet up on the beach. And then they come back and they write a review complaining about the service, or they're complaining about the quality of the food, or complaining about the beach having too much seaweed on it, or they complain about the weather. Right? All of those things justified, maybe some of them are and some of them aren't. So when you're looking at customer testimonials and reviews, you just need to kind of gauge where the actual review is coming from. And I think for the most part, you'll find more positive reviews than you will negative reviews, but you will definitely find negative reviews, and you just sort of need to filter out or look at it through a different lens, an unbiased lens, as far as what were those customers' expectations going into the project, and were those expectations um, justified. As far as positive reviews, you definitely want to look for things like uh, comments about budget, comments about timelines, comments about professionalism, comments about communication. All of those will go a long way to telling you, what you can expect to receive as far as quality of service and customer service from that contractor. As far as the referral portion of it, so you definitely want to question the source of the referral in the same way that you're looking at reviews, because everyone is different. Everyone's expectations going into working with a contractor will be different. Are they approaching it with a consumer mindset that it's a very transactional relationship? Are they approaching it with an investor mindset that this is a long-term business relationship that you're trying to grow with a contractor? So you want to question the referrer to make sure that their expectations align with your expectations. You'll also want to ask them a lot of these questions. How was your experience? How was the communication? Did they come in under budget, over budget? Did they come in on time? Were they late? Why? How was your overall experience as far as communication? Were they professional? Were they clean? Uh, and again, these will be incorporated into the checklist as part of the course. So don't freak out if you're trying to make notes for everything here, because I've already done that for you in checklist form. So you can just refer to that checklist and anytime going through this process. So as far as the next bullet point here, so the years in business, I would say anyone that's been in business for less than 3 years, you definitely need to keep your eyes and ears open, and you definitely want to hammer them for customer referrals or references that are recent to make sure that they're not a fly by night contractor, that they actually know what it is that they're doing, that they can perform, uh, that they're not all over the place as far as being organized or showing up sporadically to the job site, like they've bitten off more than they can chew, that type of thing. For the most part, contractors that have been in business for less than 3 years, they probably have a lot of experience working for someone else. They got fed up working for someone else, wanted more freedom, and decided to open up their own business because they have a pool of, you know, side job customers that they were doing on evenings and weekends or taking time off from their full-time employer to do. And it's usually how contractors will get started that have been in business for less than 3 years. For contractors that are or have been in business for greater than 5 years or 5 years or greater, to put it differently, they obviously have some staying power, and you can tell a lot based on the reviews and testimonials that you see online. And what can you expect from them because they have that longevity, depending on what kind of contractor they are. And if it's a subcontractor like an electrician, an HVAC guy, plumber, um, carpenter, or general contractor, obviously the first pool of subcontractors there would have a lot more work that they can accomplish over a year because their jobs don't span as long. Versus a general contractor who, depending on what kind of work they do and if they're doing the work themselves, could be, bathroom remodel could be 3 to 4 weeks. A kitchen remodel could be 48. A legal based apartment could be um, 12 to 16 or more. So just kind of look out for those kind of things too, when you're monitoring years in business. A lot of the times, if the contractor has a website, you can find out when they were established as well, as far as years in business. So you don't even have to contact them and ask. But if you can't find it on their website, when you get to the qualification process, to start calling contractors, then that's a question you can definitely bring up. But that will give you kind of a good guideline as far as any contractor that's been in business for less than 3 years to kind of keep your eyes and ears open. And then for contractors that are in business for greater than 5 years, they have a little bit of staying power in the marketplace and they kind of know what they're doing because if they weren't still in business, um, or if they weren't making money, they didn't know how to attract customers or keep customers and deliver great customer service, great product at the end of the project, then they probably wouldn't be making enough money to support themselves, support their families, and stay in business. So that's years of business. As far as the next point here, which is insured, you definitely need to make sure that contractors here are equipped with general liability insurance, ideally a $2 million coverage, which will protect any incidents, property damage on site as a result of construction activities or resulting from the construction activities. The other thing that you want to make sure is that they have suitable workers' compensation coverage. So every contractor here that is performing work, with the exception of a very small category that are just individual work for themselves, doing very specific kind of work, they must have workers' compensation, which in Ontario it's called WSIB, and that stands for the Workplace Safety Insurance Board. That's Ontario specific, but every single province, every single state should have some variation or some organization that provides that. And that's in the event of a worker of the contractor themselves getting injured on your job, that they will be covered for their time off. That doesn't liability fall on you. So one point about the WSIB insurance too that you can ask for, and you want to ask for both of those documents when you get to the stage where first you want to make sure that they have both of them. So you can just ask that question during the qualification process, but you ultimately want to get the actual documentation in your hand and make sure that that coverage is not expired and it's still relevant. So for insurance, I think it expires every single year. General liability insurance for WSIB, it's updated quarterly. So you can ask for a WSIB clearance certificate from the contractor, or you could even go onto the WSIB website, type in the contractor's uh, actual business name in full, and find that clearance certificate. I believe this is a free service that they offer, and check if they actually are currently covered or protected. Okay. Now the last one here is transparency. So I'm a little bit confused as to what you're asking as far as transparency. So if you can actually just put it in the comments here what you mean specifically about that, and then I can either comment through just comments your comment, or I could send out another video as far as what you're asking here specifically. But I think I've kind of understand as far as transparency. You just want to make sure that that contractor uh, is very communicative when it comes to information about progress, about problems and challenges that they're facing, any budget concerns, schedule concerns, any risks, any uh, alternative solutions or alternative uh, products that they're planning on using, which are, could be cheaper or more expensive, things like that. I think that's what you're kind of taking in as far or asking as far as transparency. And I'll cover that in another question when it comes to contractor communication. So I still would like you to put your comment in below this video and let me know what you need specifically on that. Hopefully that kind of gave you some insight as far as transparency. And then timeline again, that's a question that will definitely be covered in the actual course content. So I'm not going to touch too much on it here. Um, but you will definitely want to get the opinion of your contractor and hopefully have an idea in your head as far as based on talking with people in your network who've done similar projects recently, your power team members. Hopefully, if you have a coach or a mentor, you can ask for their insight on what they think as far as how long it will take. And then when your qualifying contractors are telling them a little bit about your project, depending on how much information you have at that stage, then you can get a sense from them or how long they think it's going to take to do this project. Compare it to the other information from the other resources and the other referrers uh, and your network and your power team members, and compare. Are your power team members or people in your network saying that it took 16 weeks to do uh, a basement apartment, and they're telling you they can do it in 8 weeks? Then, there's a big gap in there, and maybe that contractor's a bit overzealous, a bit too prideful or ego, or maybe they can deliver it based on the resources that they have working for them. These are all things that you'll need to consider when it comes to qualifying contractors, and definitely a lot of it will be covered in this course. So I'm looking forward to delivering that information to you to help you out. But I hope that answers your biggest question. I'm still working with contract, and thank you very much for submitting it, Daria.